In a world of endless noise, the ability to discern when to employ speech and when to embrace silence has become a precious commodity. From social media rants to office drama, so many of us are caught in a compulsive cycle of running our mouths, often to our own detriment. But Stoicism is an ancient philosophy that could empower you to master the discipline of controlling your tongue, a timeless way of being that allowed you to speak with intentional purpose and potent clarity, while also harnessing the power of stillness. That's the way of the Stoics, and it will revolutionize how you convey yourself. 1. Eliminate the need to have the final word. One of the most common traps people fall into is the burning desire to always have the last word in a disagreement or heated discussion. We get hooked on this desperate need to drown out the other person's perspective with long-winded explanations of why we're definitively right and they're completely wrong. However, this juvenile obsession with securing verbal dominance provides only fleeting ego gratification. It goes against the teachings of Stoicism. By urgently scrambling to get the final say, you demonstrate insecurity about your position, an unhealthy attachment to being perceived as correct at all costs, and an inability to detach your ego and pride from the specific issue at hand. Furthermore, this frantic grasping for the last word yet again sacrifices the virtues of restraint, stillness, and imperturbable calm that Stoics cultivated. The more evolved path is to make your point with poise and clarity, then retain a humble, composed silence as the discussion moves forward organically. Don't get hooked on needing to emphatically declare yourself the victor with a closing statement. True strength lies in being unruffled about whether you're viewed as right or wrong on any given issue. 2. Recognize toxic speech patterns. On the journey towards mastering intentional speech and calibrated silence in the Stoic tradition, you must first bring brutally honest self-awareness to the dysfunctional verbal patterns to which you've grown accustomed. So many of our default communication habits represent reactionary coping mechanisms, defensive posturing, and purposeless blather that actively disempowers our ability to express our authentic truth. Do you find yourself frequently using speech not to convey any real substance, but rather to placate others' expectations of you? Or do you have a tendency to seek validation and approval through constant self-deprecating remarks? Perhaps you overcompensate for insecurities by habitually bragging, grandstanding about your accomplishments, or speaking over others. Chronic venting, gossiping about others, and negatively presupposing the worst possible outlook through pessimistic speech are other infected patterns requiring renovation. You must conduct a ruthlessly honest audit. Where are you falling into these stale, disempowering narratives about yourself and reality? With radical clarity about these shadowy defaults, you can begin re-imprinting new behaviors aligned with Stoic integrity. 3. Realize that most speaking is pointless. Take an honest inventory of your typical daily conversations. How many of those verbal outpourings truly accomplished anything vital? Chances are the vast majority represented little more than nervous motor mouthing, needless words vomited into the world to fill silence or make you feel heard. This is a colossal waste of energy and life force. In reality, most of what needs to be understood and communicated can be done concisely and directly, without the insipid diarrhea of language we've become culturally accustomed to. Say what absolutely must be said, then seal your lips. Inject calculated pauses and stillness into your interactions. Constant chatter is the refuge of those lacking self-possession. It scatters their power and renders them insubstantial. In contrast, one comfortable embracing silences and resisting the infantile urge to constantly blab gains gravitas. Words carry more impact emerging from a disciplined root of stillness. 4. Speak with clear intention. Most of our daily speech emerges without any deliberate intent behind it. We make small talk, aimlessly remark on surface happenings, or vocalize our streams of consciousness without any purposeful goal. The Stoics taught that nearly all unfocused rambling deprives you of centeredness and power. Before saying anything, ask yourself, what is my intention behind these words? What is their deeper purpose? Simple questions like this disarm so much needless verbiage. If your speech doesn't arise from an intentional place of wanting to instruct, inspire, or accomplish something specific, catch yourself and retain silence. When you become discriminate about only speaking with clear, centered intentions behind your language, Your words carry immense more gravitas. They reverberate with substantive power rather than dissipating as empty noise. Like a blazing laser beam over an incoherent wildfire, precision of intention wins the day. 5. Let others run their mouths. When witnessing others succumb to compulsive verbosity and egoistic grandstanding, resist the urge to do the same. Let them blithely expose their inner workings and shallow thoughts through endless prattling. Remain stoically silent, and their words will deflate without your reciprocation. The loudest, most relentless talker ultimately reveals their own lack of substance and depth of insecurity. All that senseless drivel spews from an internal vacuum they are frantically trying to fill. They lash out with sound and fury, signifying nothing beyond a gaping neediness. Observe with stoic detachment and equanimity. Don't play their game of voracious gossiping or one-upmanship. By not lending them the energy of your words, you don't reinforce their vapid behavior patterns. Let their sentences trail off into silence, dissipating through your imperturbable stillness. 6. Embrace wise silence. On the flip side of using speech judiciously, the Stoics fundamentally understood the immense power and virtue in maintaining poised silence in the appropriate circumstances. In fact, comfortable, deliberate stillness separates the disciplined sages from the uncentered rabble. Too many people are terrified of silence and must constantly fill it with more meaningless vocalizing. This betrays deep insecurities and inability to simply abide and be without constantly doing. A person capable of remaining calmly, centered, and at ease amidst periods of silence emanates commanding presence. Furthermore, judiciously retaining silence starves those who crave reactions and emotional engagement from you. It disarms them and keeps you grounded in your unshakable core. Knowing when to seal your lips and withdraw from battles of verbal diarrhea projects self-assuredness. 7. Speak your truth fearlessly. Despite the emphasis on stillness, there are indeed times when the Stoics believed voice and forthright expression to be essential. If upholding core virtuous principles or defending one's deepest moral convictions requires bold speech, one must find the courage to make themselves heard. To stay silent in the face of treacherous lies, direct affronts to your character, or threats to injustice makes one complicit in perpetuating those toxic dynamics. There are pivotal moments when breaking one's silence becomes a spiritual, philosophical imperative in order to stand for what's right. The trick is discerning when such clarion calls require your full-voiced participation versus situations better met with composed silence. But know that there is profound integrity in always being willing to speak up for your truth when it really matters. 8. Speak less, observe more. Our frenzied society rewards those who dominate conversations and project ego-driven thoughts into the world. We admire the vocally powerful who hold courts and deliver soaring rhetoric. But this represents merely the surface turbulence of life. Beneath the choppy waters of constant human bleating lies the vast stillness, the subterranean depths where true insights and wisdom flow. Those committed to the inner journey of mastering themselves speak minimally so they can observe maximally. 9. Be wary of those who rarely shut up. Just as nature prompts distrust of those who continuously leak emotional incontinence with ceaseless loquaciousness, be wary of any human quack who simply won't shut the hell up. Their need to monopolize conversational airspace reflects an imbalance of egotism and insecurity, an internal abyss they are attempting to perpetually paper over with the sound of their own voice. Usually this represents fears of contemplating themselves and existence's depths. Paradoxically, those with the most substance tend to be the quietest and most reserved with sharing their perspectives. It is the fools and phony sages whose words never cease, as they lack the inner stillness and self-possession to be silent. Imagine the imperturbable awareness cultivated through listening more than speaking, absorbing the granular textures of every interaction rather than needing to have center stage. This state of heightened presence illuminates human nature's subtle patterns in ways the chronic word spewer will never perceive. Speak sparingly, and you reap the profundity of bearing witness to innumerable dramas and micro-revelations with penetrating clarity. Words spill from depths of true knowing, not reactive sputtering. 10. Speak from unshakable presence. When you do opt to verbally express yourself in dialogues and situational dynamics, it's paramount that you are rooted in profound mind-body-spirit presence before emitting any words. Language loses all power and persuasive impact when it comes spilling out of an energetically frenzied, frantic, or distracted internal space within you. The Stoics taught that speech must emerge from a state of centered, disciplined stillness in order to embody true command. Too often, we thoughtlessly react and speak from triggered emotional patterns, deeply grooved psychological programming, or a scattered mental space consumed by validation needs. This inevitably translates into disorganized, misdirected speech, delivered without calibration or leverage. Before choosing to release your voice into any circumstances, take a grounding pause and become hyper-aware of your somatic, kinesthetic experiencing in that present moment. Bring your mind into harmonious unity with the rooted stillness and presence of your body. From this unshakable nexus of integration, your words will flow as mystically potent transmissions reverberating the essence you've embodied. Speak only from this space of profound presence. 11. Speak with authenticity, not artifice. In a world that often prizes appearances over substance, the Stoics remind us of the profound power of authenticity. To speak with authenticity is to peel away the layers of pretense and to reveal the raw, unvarnished truth of our experiences, our beliefs, and our aspirations. Authenticity is a radical act of vulnerability, a willingness to expose our innermost selves to the world without fear or apology. It is a rejection of the masks we so often wear, the personas we carefully construct to conform to societal expectations or to shield ourselves from judgment. When we speak with authenticity, our words carry a weight and resonance that cannot be replicated by artifice. They speak not just to the intellect but to the heart, forging connections that transcend superficial barriers and touch the core of our shared humanity. 12. Speak with empathy, not judgment. In a world that often promotes division and polarization, the Stoics remind us of the transformative power of empathy. To speak with empathy is to step outside the confines of our own experiences and to view the world through the lens of understanding and compassion. Empathy is not a weakness, but a strength, a recognition that our perspectives are shaped by the unique tapestries of our lives. It is the ability to listen without judgment, to acknowledge the validity of experiences that may differ from our own, and to find common ground even in the midst of discord. When we speak with empathy, our words become bridges, spanning the divides that separate us and fostering connections that transcend superficial differences. The Stoics remind us that true wisdom lies not in the arrogance of certainty, but in the humility of embracing the complexities of the human experience. 11. Speak with self-awareness, not ego. The Stoics taught the importance of self-awareness and recognizing the role that ego plays in our speech. To speak without self-awareness is to be a slave to our unchecked impulses and desires, allowing our egos to dictate our words without regard for wisdom or consequence. True self-awareness demands that we examine the motives behind our speech. Are we speaking to assert our own importance or to genuinely contribute value? Are we driven by a need for validation or a genuine desire to connect and understand? The Stoics remind us that the path to virtue lies in subordinating our egos to reason, in tempering our speech with humility and introspection. When we speak with self-awareness, our words carry the weight of authenticity and integrity. We become less concerned with how our speech is perceived and more focused on the substance and impact of our message. In this way, we liberate ourselves from the shackles of ego and embrace the freedom that comes with speaking from a place of self-knowledge and emotional clarity. 12. Embrace the discomfort of uncomfortable truths. In a world that often prioritizes comfort over growth, the Stoics remind us of the profound value in embracing uncomfortable truths. To speak uncomfortable truths is to confront the harsh realities that others may prefer to ignore, to shine a light on the shadows that lurk in the corners of our collective consciousness. The Stoics understood that personal and societal transformation is born from a willingness to confront the difficult, to engage with the unpleasant, and to resist the seductive lure of complacency. When we speak uncomfortable truths, We challenge ourselves and others to confront our biases, our assumptions, and the blind spots that hinder our growth. Yet the Stoics also caution against recklessness in this pursuit. Uncomfortable truths must be conveyed with empathy and wisdom, lest they become mere weapons of provocation or tools of self-righteousness. The art lies in finding the delicate balance between candor and compassion, in speaking truth without sacrificing kindness or consideration for the experiences of others. 13. Cultivate emotional intelligence in speech. In the realm of speech, the Stoics recognized the profound importance of emotional intelligence, the ability to understand and navigate the complexities of human emotion. To speak without emotional awareness is to risk causing unintended harm, to sow seeds of misunderstanding and discord. Emotional intelligence demands that we attune ourselves to the emotional undercurrents that flow beneath our words. It requires us to be mindful of the impact our speech may have on others, to anticipate potential emotional triggers, and to modulate our language accordingly. The Stoics remind us that true wisdom lies not only in the content of our words, but also in the manner in which we deliver them. A message conveyed with empathy and emotional intelligence is far more likely to be received and understood than one delivered with callous disregard for the emotional landscape it traverses. If you have made it this far, comment down below with the word 100% to confirm that you have received the knowledge from this video. For more interesting topics, make sure you watch the recommended video that you see on the screen right now. Thanks for watching.